World War II is often remembered through famous battles, powerful leaders, and major victories. But beyond these well-known events lie countless untold stories that reveal the true human side of the global conflict. From 1939 to 1945, the war touched almost every part of the world, shaping lives in ways that history books rarely describe. These hidden stories belong to ordinary people whose courage, suffering, and sacrifices quietly influenced the course of the war. While armies clashed on the front lines, millions of civilians were fighting their own battles far from the spotlight. In occupied cities and villages, survival became an act of resistance. People learned how to live with fear, shortages, and uncertainty. Families hid radios, shared food in secret, and protected one another from sudden arrests. These small acts of defiance helped preserve hope in a world dominated by violence and control. In many European countries under occupation, resistance movements grew quietly. Teachers, farmers, students, and shopkeepers became messengers, spies, and protectors. They passed information, sabotaged supply lines, and helped prisoners and soldiers escape. Most of them never wore uniforms or received medals, yet their actions saved lives and weakened enemy control. Many resistance fighters were caught and executed, but their stories remained largely unknown, passed only through whispers and memories. Across the oceans, the war created untold suffering in Asia. In China and Southeast Asia, entire communities were displaced as battles destroyed homes and livelihoods. Civilians endured bombings, forced labor, and famine. Despite this, local resistance groups formed, often with little equipment or support. Their struggle was not just against invading forces, but against hunger, disease, and exhaustion. These stories rarely appear in mainstream narratives, yet they represent some of the longest and hardest years of the war. Women played a crucial but often overlooked role in World War II. With millions of men sent to fight, women stepped into factories, farms, and offices, keeping nations running. Others served as nurses, pilots, code breakers, and intelligence agents. Some women risked everything as resistance members, carrying messages or weapons while appearing invisible to occupying forces. Their contributions reshaped societies and challenged traditional roles. Even though recognition came slowly after the war, children also lived through untold stories of survival. Many grew up surrounded by bombings, ration lines, and constant fear. Some were separated from their families, sent to safer areas, or orphaned by the fighting. Others worked to support their households or joined youth resistance groups. War stole their childhoods, yet many showed remarkable strength and adaptability. Their experiences remind us that the impact of World War II reached far beyond the battlefield. Prisoners of war endured harsh and often inhumane conditions. Captured soldiers were forced into labor camps, where survival depended on endurance and luck. Some formed secret communities, sharing food and encouraging one another to survive another day. Acts of kindness between prisoners, even from different nations, became powerful examples of humanity surviving in extreme circumstances. These moments rarely appear in official records but left deep impressions on those who lived through them. Not all untold stories are about resistance or survival. Some are about moral choices made in impossible situations. Many individuals risked their lives to protect others, hiding strangers or helping them escape danger. These actions were often taken quietly, without expectation of recognition. Their bravery showed that even in a global conflict driven by hatred and power, compassion could still exist. Technology and intelligence also produced hidden stories. Code breakers, analysts, and radio operators worked in secrecy, knowing that a single mistake could cost thousands of lives. Their successes often remained classified for decades. These unseen efforts helped change the direction of battles and shorten the war. Yet the people behind them lived ordinary lives, unable to speak of their achievements. As the war progressed, the scale of destruction grew, but so did resilience. In cities reduced to rubble, people rebuilt shelters, shared resources, and supported one another. Music, art, and storytelling became ways to cope with fear and loss. Even in the darkest moments, people searched for meaning and connection, proving that the human spirit could not be completely broken. When the war finally ended in 1945, the world focused on rebuilding and moving forward. Many untold stories were buried under ruins or lost with those who never returned. Survivors carried their memories quietly, often choosing silence over reliving trauma. Only years later did some of these stories begin to surface, revealing the true depth of the global conflict. World War II was not only a clash of nations, but a collection of millions of personal struggles. The untold stories show that history is shaped not just by generals and governments, but by ordinary people making extraordinary choices. These stories remind us that behind every statistic lies a human life, filled with fear, hope, loss, and courage. Understanding these hidden experiences changes how we see the war. It becomes more than a timeline of events. It becomes a shared human story. The global conflict revealed the worst and best of humanity, and its untold stories continue to teach powerful lessons about resilience, empathy, and the cost of war. Even today, these stories matter. They warn future generations about the consequences of hatred and unchecked power, while also showing the strength of unity and compassion. World War II may belong to history, but its untold stories still speak to the present, reminding us that peace is fragile and humanity must be protected at all costs.